Welcome to the Golf Report podcast. Today I'm joined by Blakesly Brock, who is the 2021 U.S. Women's Mid-Amateur Champion, and she also lives in, or is from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Blakesly, how are you doing today? Thank you for joining me.
Hey Gavin, thanks for having me. I'm doing great. How are you
Good.
doing?
Good. So just tell me, how are things? What have you been up to lately?
Things are good. I'm enjoying some of the sunshine we're having now and some of the warmer weather. It's been kind of a cold winter in Tennessee, lots of rain, so happy to see the sunshine. I actually had surgery for some shoulder and neck issues I've been having for a while in October of last year. So since then, I've just been focused on recovering and starting to get back into golf, which I'm excited about.
Yes. So you're an amateur golfer, not a professional. So tell me, what do you do full time? Do you work? What do you do full time? I'd like to
Yeah,
know.
I've worked in the past. My dad owns a piping supply company, so I work for him. But throughout this whole kind of recovery process, I've been lucky enough to take some time away from work, spend a lot of time in physical therapy and just kind of recovering. So I'm not doing much right now, but it's been a nice little break.
Nice. And you live in Tennessee?
I do, yeah,
Yep.
Chattanooga, Tennessee, born and raised. I love it here.
Nice. And how often do you get to golf and how often do you compete?
Um, when I'm healthy, I play a lot of golf. Definitely on the weekends, try to get out once a week during the week as well, practice when I can. Competitive wise, I play a lot during the summer. I try to do all the USGA events that I can qualify for, and then this year they're doing the Elite AM series for women, so I hope to play in a bunch of those events as well. Competing is one of my favorite things to do. I spend a lot of time thinking about it, focusing on it, and working on my game, so I just try to do it as often as I can.
Nice. So let's get into your start in the game. You grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Just tell me about growing up in Tennessee and how you got started playing golf, like what age you began playing and all that.
Yeah, so I started playing when I was about 11 years old, seriously.
Okay.
I started playing other sports from the age I could walk. Played soccer forever, basketball. And then once I started playing golf, it was actually my grandfather who got me into the game. He's a big golfer. He started taking me to tournaments. He'd carry my bag, and that kind of formed a bond between us. And then I fell in love with the game and kind of just started playing ever since. I'm very lucky. Chattanooga has so many great golf courses. It's a big golf city. So I'm very lucky to have a lot of great places to play and a lot of girls. I feel like it's rare to grow up with a bunch of girls in your area that play golf, but I was lucky enough to have that. So I've had a lot of friends to play with, and have always enjoyed it and just kind of stuck with it.
Well, growing up in Tennessee, you had a lot of success. You were a three-time Tennessee girls junior champion, and you won two state championships at Baylor School. So just tell me, about those tournaments and your success in Tennessee growing up.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was lucky enough to have a lot of success from a young age. I think, like I kind of just mentioned, growing up around a lot of girls that played golf and had a lot of game was only pushed me to get better. Winning three junior AMs in Tennessee was kind of special. I love the TGA. They do an awesome job putting on tournaments. That's the Tennessee Golf Association. I won two of those at the same golf course, Foxland Harbor, so that was kind of special. And then at Baylor, we kind of had a legacy there. Let's see, my sophomore year, we, as the women's golf team, were going for our 16th straight state title in a row, which
Okay.
was a national record, which was pretty cool. It was a lot of pressure, and we actually ended up losing that year. So we ended up tied with the record. We didn't pull through and get the record outright, but um, that was kind of a learning experience for me, and I was able to learn from it and then go on to win my junior and senior year, the state championship after we lost individually and as a team. So that was pretty special.
Thanks. So tell me about, more about the legacy of Baylor School. So I know some, professional PGA Tour players that played there, like Harris English and others. So just tell me, if you know, who's, some notable names who's gone to the Baylor School. If you don't know, just tell
Yeah,
me about the legacy of, golf at the Baylor School.
absolutely. Golf is such a huge thing at Baylor, and
Okay.
I feel very lucky to be a part of it. like you mentioned, there was Harris English. He was older than me,
Yeah,
but I've hung out with him on the range a few times. He's a great guy. And then I don't know if you know Keith Mitchell.
yeah.
He played at Baylor as well.
Okay,
And Steven Yeager, who
okay.
has won a bunch on the Corn Ferry. He's having a great year this year on the PGA Tour.
Nice,
So it was really cool for me to be around those guys and watch them and learn from them. And then on the women's side, we have a lot of great players as well. Brooke Pancake, she spent some time out on the LPGA tour. She was a phenomenal player at Alabama that won a national championship there. Um, and then, yeah, I mean, it's just been, I feel like I wouldn't be the golfer I am today if I hadn't grown up at Baylor and kind of spent time around all those people. We had an incredible coach between King Emig and then Gary Partrick, who's there now and coached me. So he's really done a wonderful job building that program.
nice. So for college, you went to University of Tennessee. So, normally I'll ask, what drew you to, your college, but you're from Tennessee and you went to University of Tennessee. So, it seems like an easy decision. But, being from Tennessee, was it always your goal or dream to, be a lady volunteer, or were you not sure where you wanted to go, growing up?
Yeah, it was. Growing up, I always wanted to kind of play at the highest level with the best players, and for me, I felt like that was in the SEC conference. So for me, I also wanted to be close to home somewhat. I had a young sister at the time who had kind of just been born, and I wanted to be able to kind of be able to come back and forth from home and college and spend some time with her. So my two choices were really Vanderbilt or Tennessee. But I
Okay,
had grown up a Tennessee fan forever, and it just so happened that they had a spot for me, and I loved it. I'm a big Vol. I'm a Vol for life. So it was a wonderful experience. I wouldn't change a thing.
nice. So yeah, just recap, how was your time at Tennessee? And I read a stat you had 19 top 25 finishes in your college career. So, is that true? Did you really have, all those top 25 finishes?
It's funny that you say that. I didn't know that I had 19 top 25 finishes. That makes me feel like I had a better career than I kind of felt like I did,
Okay,
just because I always, wanted to win and never had that in college. But yeah, Tennessee was great. We had a really good team. I think freshman and sophomore year we went to nationals, which was a great experience. And then the girls on the team, I met my very best friend there. We're roommates. We're best friends to this day. So, um, just meeting people. And I'm not gonna lie, college golf is hard. I think playing any sport in college is probably very difficult. There's a lot of ups and downs to it. But going through that has made me the person and the player that I am today, and I'm thankful for it. It was great.
nice. So after your time at, University of Tennessee, I'm interested to know because, you're one of the best amateur players, in the country. Did you ever try to, pursue professional golf or, did you never really try to, go out and play professional golf? Was it a goal for you to try to play professional golf after college, or did you not want to play professional golf?
Yeah, that's a good question. I always grew up, ever since I started playing and realized I was kind of talented, I wanted to be a professional golfer, and still kind of wanted to do that up until my senior year of college. But I was battling a couple of injuries towards the end of my college career, got a little bit burnt out from golf just because, it was hard. I felt like I wasn't playing well. Felt like a lot of my hard work was kind of going to waste and I had nothing to show for it. So that was kind of a tough decision for me to decide, hey, I'm not going to pursue college golf. And I quit. I put my clubs down, didn't touch them from when I graduated in 2018 until the summer of 2021, actually. Um, so yeah, I went to work, got a job. COVID hit, and I kind of realized, I miss golf. Let's try this again. Started practicing a little bit, fell back in love with it, and yeah, the rest is kind of history from there.
So yeah, so how tough is that? You said, up to your senior year of college, you wanted to pursue professional golf. How tough is that? It didn't work out and you had to hang up your clubs and go, working, after, graduating from Tennessee. How difficult was that?
It was
Mm,
really difficult, to be honest. When you go to college and you have your sights on playing a professional sport, at least for me, I didn't ever really think about what my options would be if I didn't go that route. So I didn't really have a career path in mind. I probably, I was a good student, but I could have spent more time uh, focused on the classes I was taking and learning a little bit more, taking advantage of opportunities outside of sports and golf in college because they're out there. But I was so single-mindedly focused on playing professional, and I thought I was going to play golf forever. So the transition was difficult. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I went into a job that I didn't really love. Spent 3 years there, and yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. I My advice to anyone would be to, um, definitely focus on golf, but don't be afraid to take some opportunities outside of that. Do some internships during the summer in college or high school, and just explore all the things that are out there. And maybe you'll find something that you love just as much.
So now let's get into the obvious, the 2021 U.S. Women's Mid-Amateur Championship. So a few questions to start. That I'm very interested, in knowing about. So was the 2021, U.S. Women's Mid-Amateur, was that your first Mid-Amateur Championship? And did you get in there from, winning the 2021 Tennessee Women's Mid-Amateur? Is that how you got in?
It was my first USGA Mid-Am championship. You have to be
Okay.
25 to be
Yeah.
eligible, so that was the first one I was eligible for.
Okay.
And I did end up winning the Tennessee Women's Mid-Amateur, but that's not how I got into the USGA Mid-Am. I had to qualify, but it actually worked out because the qualifier was at Black Creek, which was my home course in high school where Baylor played. So it was a place that I was very familiar with, had played, a million times. I love that golf course. Played really well in the qualifier and was just pumped to be at the Mid-Am.
Nice. So going into the 2021 Mid-Am, given that you qualified and played well, in the qualifier, were you feeling, confident going into the tournament, or were you, you know, not feeling too confident going into the tournament, given that was your first mid-amateur tournament? How were you feeling going into the championship?
I was feeling great. I felt very confident. It was weird because, like I said, I had kind of taken almost 3 years off from competitive golf. But when you take that much time off, your expectations go down. And I was truly competing because I love to do it, not because I felt pressure that mostly I put on myself just to play well because it's something I've done my whole life. But this was truly something that I just wanted to do for me for fun. And the crazy thing is, you brought up the Tennessee Women's Mid-Am. So the final round of that, I finished playing that. I think I ended up winning by my maybe 8 or 9 shots. Had
Okay.
the trophy presentation, hopped in the car with my husband right after that, and we drove straight to South Carolina for the USGA Mid-Am. And then I had my first practice round early the next morning. So coming off that Tennessee Mid-Am win, my confidence was high. I knew I was playing great golf. I knew I had a chance to go to the USGA Mid-Am and compete. And it being my first Mid-Am, I was a little nervous. Hadn't played in a USGA championship in a while, and it is special and it's a big deal to be there. So there were a little bit of nerves, but like I said, there was kind of no pressure that I put on myself, no expectations. I just kind of went out and like free willed it, let everything go, and ended up having the best week of golf I've ever played.
So stroke play at the 2021 Mid-Am, you finished T24, so basically kind of middle of the pack, guess a little bit higher at the pack, but anyway. Nothing to, strike out that you were going to be the one to come out on top. But then in the match play portion, you had a very interesting, or I guess I would say probably for you, stressful path to the championship in the round of 16. And you won your round of 16 match in 19 holes. And then in the quarterfinals, you won in 20 holes. So just talk about, the grit and, the grit that you showed, being able to win in extra holes and, also talk about, I'm sure that was stressful for yourself. So just talk about round of 16 and quarterfinal matches, winning them in extra holes and, how those matches were.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a whirlwind of emotions, really. I think in both of those matches, I got off to a really good start. I was up maybe by 4 up at some point, and then just kind of slowly things kind of started to go my opponent's way. So, like you said, typically for me, I'd be stressed in that situation, but after the stroke play portion of that week, something in my head just kind of switched. A switch flipped, and I told myself, I wasn't going to get down on myself. I just was going to be positive. I was going to give it everything, kind of, and not really leave anything out there, not play scared golf, which is something I had a tendency to do. And so in those matches, I think I had round of 16, quarterfinals, and semifinals. I all ended up winning those in extra holes. But to be in such a stressful situation, I've never felt more calm. And that's rare for me, and it's something that I think really contributed to how I was able to win that week. I really just never let myself get ahead or start to think about the result. I was solely focused on the shot I was about to hit. And yeah, I was that was something I really learned and took away from that week.
Nice. So then I want to talk about your semifinals match where you won in 19 holes over Shannon Johnson, from Massachusetts. It's a two seed,
Mhm.
Shannon's a very good player. She's won the Mid-Am before, but in US Women's Open. So I'm sure you knew, going into this, semifinals match that it was not going to be easy. You're gonna have to play great golf to, defeat Shannon. In this match, you were four up through 12, and then, Shannon comes back, wins 13, 15, 16, and 18 to tie the match and, take it to an extra hole. But then you won, on the extra hole in the 19th hole. So talk about, how are you feeling, being four up through 12, and then, just talk about, how you had it, the grit and, the composure you had to show, after losing your four up lead through 12 to, be able to win on the 19th hole.
Yeah. Like you said, Shannon's an incredible player. I think it was to my advantage that I didn't know much about Shannon when I went into that match. I knew she was a
Okay.
former champion, so I knew it was going to be tough. But I remember, I think she hit her first tee shot on the first hole of our match, and my husband, who was caddying for me, we kind of looked at each other and we were like, "Oh my gosh, she has the most beautiful swing I've ever seen in person." I was like she needs to be on the LPGA tour. What is she doing at the Mid-Am?" Um, I mean that as a compliment to Shannon. She's a great golfer, but an even better person. So I knew I had my work cut out for me, but as I said before, I was in this mindset where I was confident, I was believing in myself. I wasn't going to look to the side and worry about what she was doing. I was just going to play my own game, and um, to get that four up lead through 12 or whatever it was a confidence builder. So I knew I was playing great, but I knew that Shannon was the type of player that was never going to give up. She had just as much grit as I did, and for her to fight back, I think um, the way I handled that situation is probably one of the proudest moments of my golfing career, just to show the grit that I had and the toughness that I had to hang in there. Um, but yeah, I think it was just me playing one shot at a time, only focusing on myself. And when that when that putt dropped on the extra hole from maybe 12 feet for birdie, and I just really couldn't believe that I had beat her and was headed to the final match. I think my match against Shannon was the hardest match I played all week, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, that's pretty incredible. Round of 16, quarterfinals, and semifinals match you won all in, extra holes. So that, it's pretty incredible stuff. And, it just shows a lot how you're able to compose yourself, to be able to win in extra holes. Okay.
It was pretty special.
Yeah, so then your finals match, you played against the 64 seed Aaliyah Clark, who's, if you follow mid-amateur golf, Leah's been in the mid-amateur final, a few times. You would
Hmm.
see she's the 64 seed, last player to get into match play, but she's a really good player and one of the top mid amateurs in the country. So she's not a true 64 seed. So tell me about, what how were you feeling going into the match against Aaliyah, and then what was it like when you were able to win five up, on the 14th hole and just be able to call yourself a USGA champion? What's that feeling like?
Yeah, the crazy thing about Aaliyah is that she and I were actually paired together during the stroke play portion of
Okay.
the championship as well. So that was the first time that I had met Aaliyah and played with her. But like you said, I think the first round she didn't play great, kind of had a high round, and then that second round she played awesome. So I knew she had it in her. I knew she was a fantastic player, and I knew my work was going to be tough. I didn't sleep at all the night before. I was so nervous and just excited. But Yeah, once I got five up, um, well, once I started winning holes and I think it was such a good thing for me to go through um, the three matches right before of extra holes because that for me was just like, hey, you can do it, like you're so tough. No matter what happens today in this final match, like I believed in myself. I knew I could overcome the hard things. But I was also, once I got kind of a four up lead against Aaliyah, I was like, you lost a four up lead yesterday to Shannon, so you gotta keep the pedal down and keep fighting. Um, but luckily I was able to pull it out and gosh, it's just a surreal feeling kind of to win a USGA championship. It's not something that I ever expected to do, but it's been the biggest blessing in my life, and I'm so grateful for it every single day. I still kind of have to pinch myself and tell myself that it's real and it's something that can never be taken away from me, but it's pretty special.
Well, congrats. Very happy for you that you won in 2021.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, I'm just interested to know, it was your first time in the mid-amateur and, you came out on top, you won. So, what was it like to win, the mid-amateur in your first time playing in it? And then just after, winning the mid-amateur in 2021, what was that like for you after you won in 2021?
It was amazing. It was fantastic, really. After I had taken all that time off, I just kind of jumped back into competitive golf. So it was, I felt like I had a lot thrown at me. Something that I don't know if I was really ready for it because when you win the Mid-Am, you get an exemption into the U.S. Women's Open. So that was probably what I was most excited about. And then you get exemptions into the next two U.S. Women's Amateurs, which is something that I tried so many times to qualify for in the past, had just never quite got the job done. So I was obviously really excited and pumped to play in those. Got to play in them at two incredible, incredible venues. I went to Chambers Bay in, I guess it was 2022. And then last year I went to Bel Air Country Club. Those were some of the two best weeks I've ever had on the golf course. Just so much fun. Um, so yeah, it's a little bit overwhelming. Something I wasn't really expecting to happen, but it opened so many doors for me and it's given me so many opportunities and I've loved every second of it. My husband, he caddies for me, so for us to be able to go and travel the world together and play golf and do what we both love, it's just been so much fun.
Nice. So as you mentioned, one of the perks of winning the 2021 mid-amateur was you got to play in the 2022 U.S. Women's Open. So, just describe, getting to play in the U.S. Women's Open. Obviously it's one of the biggest, women's tournaments, um, you know, in the country every year. So just describe getting to play in the U.S. Open, what that was like for you.
It was absolutely incredible. It was a dream come true. I had always dreamed of playing on the LPGA tour, and I felt like this was my opportunity to compete with the best of the best and kind of fulfill that dream. I was lucky enough to get to play a practice round with Michelle Wee West and Marina Alex, and Claude Harmon. Their coach was out there, so he was just super encouraging. And Michelle was super encouraging, had a lot of nice things to say. To walk into the locker room and pass Nellie Corda and Lexi Thompson and those girls, it's just kind of like surreal to kind of take it all in. And then, I wish I had played better, but uh, just the experience as a whole was something I cannot say enough about, and how wonderful it is that the USGA gives mid-ams the opportunity to do that. It's something really special. It was a week I'll never forget, and I just had so much fun. It was absolutely amazing.
Then do you play in the mid-amateur every year? And will you play this year, it's in September near Boston? And just,
Yeah,
also tell me, what are some tournaments, that you do play in that you enjoy, getting to play in?
sure. Yes, you win the mid-am, you get 10 years exemptions into all the mid-ams. You don't have to qualify. So the mid-am is my favorite tournament of the year. It's the one I look forward to the most. Let's see, I went to Fiddlesticks in 2022. Really enjoyed that one. And then last year I was at Stonewall in Pennsylvania. this year, you're right, it's up in Boston. I don't know if you've ever played that golf course, but it looks awesome. I'm super excited about it. Um, but yeah, it's just it's a lot of fun. I love competing as a mid-am. Sometimes I feel a little old when I go play in tournaments with college kids, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Um, let's see, what else do I like to play in? I like to play in the Tennessee stuff, Tennessee Women's Am, Tennessee Women's Match Play. I hope to play this year. The Sea Island Women's Am, that's a fantastic tournament. I love that golf course. I love Sea Island, so that's one I hope to continue playing in. Um, but yeah, it's just playing as a mid-am is a lot of fun.
Nice. Well, I might go, watch the mid-am this year. My sister lives in Boston, so that's why I asked. And also I
Oh yeah,
see,
I hope to see you out there.
yeah, 2025. I'm just reading this 2025 U.S. Women's Mid-Amateur is at Monterey Peninsula Country Club, so I'm sure that'll be pretty cool.
I'm really looking forward to that one.
Nice. So I just have a couple more questions. So you're an amateur golfer, mid-am amateur golfer. So just to talk about what is it like to be a, a mid-amateur golfer, most of, the girls, I guess I should say women out there, either have tried to play professional golf and it hasn't, worked out or, they've given up on their chances to play professional golf. So I'm sure most of them are just out there, playing for, the enjoyment of golf and playing out there for fun, just getting to compete, for the enjoyment of it. So just tell me, what is it like to be a mid-amateur golfer, and just how much do you enjoy getting to be a mid-amateur golfer?
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's that's probably what I love the most about mid-am golf is that it's different. It's different than playing as a junior or as a
Yeah,
college player, just because, you know, that can be kind of a tense situation when you tend to put a lot of pressure on yourself to play well so that you can get recruited or so that you can feel like you're able to go and play professionally. So as a mid-am, a lot of us work or, have families, kids. And so when we go out there, it's because we love it. It's pure enjoyment of competing and playing golf. So I think that's what makes it special. And what I've learned throughout, the past 3 years or so playing mid-am golf is that it's kind of like a family out there. We all love each other. We want to beat each other, and it's super competitive, but we have a lot of fun doing it. And I think that's what I love the most. I think, um, it would have been great for me to go and try to play professionally, but I think I was made for mid-am golf, and I can't say enough great things about it. I love it, and it's so much fun.
Final question, what do you see for yourself in your golf game going forward? You're one of the best mid-amateur golfers in, the country. Do you see yourself just continuing to play, in amateur tournaments, going forward, or do you have bigger aspirations for your golf game, going forward?
Absolutely. You know, my hope is that I stay healthy enough and I'm able to compete as an amateur for into my senior years. I'd love to play in senior AMs. I don't have any aspirations to turn pro or do anything like that, but
Okay.
I do still love competing just as much as anything, and I hope to be able to do it for a very long time. Yeah, I love mid-am golf. I think senior am golf would be a lot of fun too. So we'll just kind of see where it takes me. As long as I'm enjoying it, I hope to be out there doing it.